Hi.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Today we are talking about A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tillie Cole. This was the last book that I read in 2021 and in a lot of ways it made sense. This book had been on my radar for a really long time. I knew I wanted to read it. I really didn't know what it was about. I had a very general basic concept and I had a feeling it was gonna hurt me, which is why I held off. But I had not even the slightest idea of how much it was truly gonna hurt me. I can think of one other book in my life that has made me sob my eyes out as much as this one has. This one honestly might have made me sob more. I'm really not much of a crier. Like, I can think of maybe like on less than two hands the amount of books in my life that have made me cry. Movies even too. It takes a lot. I'm a heartless biatch, but this book just hit me right in all of the certain spots that just, it was so good. You know, it's so hard. People always ask me, and I feel like ask readers in general, like, what are some of your favorite books? And I feel like you have answers for like books that are your favorites, but then you have books that like undeniably are like the best books you've ever read, but that doesn't mean it's like you want to read that book any day of the week because, again, pain. This for sure fits into that category of like, I want to say it's one of my favorite books ever, but like I don't plan on reading it anytime soon again because pain. But without a doubt, one of the best books I've ever read. If a book can truly like punch me in the face, bring me back to reality, make me think about life, open my eyes, appreciate my existence and everything that I have, like those books are all like the best books in my book. How many times did I just say book? I don't know. Regardless, if you haven't figured it out by now, this book was incredible. I do not want to give spoilers in this video because, as always, if I love a book, I want you guys to go read it. So I'm gonna do my very best to just generally talk about it and give my thoughts without giving anything away, because if you have not yet read this, you need to. This is a YA. Anybody of any age could certainly read it. It's on Kindle Unlimited as well, which is how I originally read it. Only got 50 pages in and I was buying it. It was on my doorstep when I arrived home from Christmas vacation. I rambled on for so long, but this book just does things to my brain, so I'm not surprised. Let's just get into it. So this is a dual perspective story. We are seeing from the point of view of this boy Rune and the point of view of this girl Poppy. At the very beginning of the story, Rune is about 5 years old and he is from Norway. And he has just had to move to this really small town in Georgia because his father got transferred there for work. And he's super against it. In the beginning, obviously, he's been torn away from his home. Norway is obviously very different from small town Georgia, but he gets there and within the first like 5 minutes of moving into his house, he meets his next door neighbor, which is Poppy, this girl that is his age. And, you know, they have a very interesting initial interaction, but they pretty much hit it off. They become the best of friends, and we're kind of flashing forward after that, and we see that over the next 10 years, Poppy and him have become really close, and as they get into high school, they've become more than friends. They have this like deep soul connection, like I feel like I've never read in another book. Like they were truly made for one another, meant to be in each other's lives. So basically we get to see some of their relationship whenever they're in high school. We get to see how much they feel for one another as they're maturing, how, you know, things start to happen and they start to feel more than just emotional love for one another. And right about the time they both turn 15, Rune is fully in love with Poppy. Poppy's fully in love with Rune. Rune finds out that his father is being transferred back to Norway and they are leaving tomorrow. So absolutely heart-wrenching. Something about distance, speaking from personal experience somewhat, if I'm being honest, cross country, especially across oceans, it freaking tears me up. The idea of like not being able to be with someone that you care about more than anything, just like physical distance, freaking sucks. So that's basically what happens. Rune gets separated from Poppy. It's devastating, but they agree, you know, they're the best of friends. This isn't gonna be the end for them. Rune is furious with his father, furious with his parents. He's like tearing apart his room, so upset that he's having to leave Poppy. He says he's not gonna do it, but what is he gonna do? He's 15, he has to obviously go with his parents. And his parents assure him like this isn't forever, like they wanna come back to Georgia. This is their home at this point, but they do have to go back to Norway for a little while. Him and his parents, that basically like he's done with them. He's very upset with them. But they do separate, and Poppy and Rune continue to talk for a couple of months as they leave every single day. Rune is having such a hard time acclimating back to Norway. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to just be with Poppy. That's all he cares about. He's already become kind of like a hardened, rebellious teenage boy in some aspects because he's just pissed at his parents. He misses his girlfriend. But yeah, what we find out is after 2 months, for some unknown reason, Poppy just stops talking to Rune. Like, they lose all connection. She doesn't answer his phone call one day, and he just like doesn't hear from her again. She cuts him off, and he has no idea why. And where we kind of jump from that is then a few years later, it is now both of their senior years in high school. Rune's father is done with whatever he had to go do in Norway, and they are now able to come back to Georgia. They never sold their house because, as they planned, like, they always wanted to come back to Georgia. They wanted to have that same house. And so now we see present day Poppy finding out that like Rune is coming back, and you can tell she's very stressed about it, very nervous about it. He comes back and Rune is a completely different person. I mean, it's been like several years. He's now like an 18-year-old boy, and he's leather jacket, hair flicked back, smoking cigarettes, like total rebellious, like parents' nightmare sort of guy. And so basically that is just the very beginning of the story. Everything I just told you is like right at the beginning. The rest of the story is Rune and Poppy slowly like having to come back together, and him being like, why did you cut me off? Like, how could you just never like stop speaking to me? Like, what was the reasoning for that? And then finding out that reasoning, and from there just a lot of things happen. And I don't want to tell you anything else because truly, like, you guys just need to read this book. It seems a little like goofy, it seems a little cutesy. I promise you, like, the whole title and the cover, it very much has a meaning. It's a very big part of the story, and I'm not going to tell you because, like, I want you to experience it. And me telling you really doesn't benefit anything. Like, it's better if you read it. But just know, 1,000 Boy Kisses is a very important, integral part of this story. In conclusion, basically, this story is freaking beautiful. Like, this has some of the best quotes I've ever read in a book. Like, I highlighted so many things. Again, just those types of quotes that fully make you like think about life, where you just read it and you're like, damn, like that was so good. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green is my favorite book of all time. Like, I have said that over and over. Like, there's never been a book that's affected me as much as that one. And about 5 to 10 pages into this, I was seriously getting those vibes, like right off the bat, of just the style of writing, like the relationship between Rune and Poppy, just the way they communicate with one another, the kind of like somewhat quirky, a little bit flowery language. Like, it's the same type that John Green uses. And then again, just the quotes that slap you across the face. So if you're a fan of that book, if you're a fan of John Green, if you're a fan of just really kind of like wholesome, beautiful YA stories that just tear your heart in two and just make you feel like a kid again, you would adore this book. But I will tell you again for the 1000th time, have a box of tissues with you. A lot of sad books, it's like you cry at the end. This book, I cried in chapter 2. I think I cried in chapter 5. Definitely cried like a massive chunk of the middle, and I cried for a solid like 20 minutes after I finished it. So, but sometimes honestly, crying is a good thing. I feel like it reminds you that you're human. It reminds you that you have emotions. Sometimes I tend to forget that. And it was just one of those books that like makes you believe in soulmates and just want to never settle for anything less than that. I'm gonna get all emotional and gooey, but I loved this book. If that hasn't been made obvious yet, if you guys have read 1,000 Boy Kisses, leave your comments down below. I would love to talk to you about it. If you haven't read it, I would seriously avoid the comments because there's gonna be massive spoilers. I assure you in there, there's a lot to this book that I am leaving out that's very important. So just stay out of those comments if you haven't read it. Go read it, come back, talk to me about it. I would love it because this book just means so much to me, and I can't believe I waited this long to read it. Yes, that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.